my name is Rachel, and it's been a while since I made a video, and that is because I had a baby 7.5 weeks ago now, and we're doing pretty well. I'm feeling pretty good, pretty settled into our new life. But yeah, that kind of took over time, and I was prioritizing making sure I got my self-care, my rest, balancing duties of the household while also expressing desires for help and receiving graciously when my husband was helping out. And he did help out a lot, and he still is. He actually is watching the baby right now downstairs, as well as our other children. So, all that to say, I took a hiatus from making videos, and I'm going to slowly, hopefully, start making more. But I'm not going to have a set schedule. So, but definitely, it does encourage me if I know that these videos are helping you. So you like, subscribe. If you comment, most of you should have anonymous profiles on YouTube. If you don't, you can. If you don't want, the world to know what you're commenting about your marriage. But yeah, I am back. And if you're not familiar with me, I have a Hope for a Better Marriage community on Patreon and both Facebook for women who are married and looking for tools to help their marriage. And today I want to talk about realizing that I am a hypocrite. And it can seem clickbaity, to be like, I'm a hypocrite, but it might not be in the way that you're expecting. But postpartum, you go through a lot of emotions, you're tired, you're stressed, and something that Laura Doyle talks about is called needless emotional turmoil. And that is when your brain kind of just spirals. It might not be really grounded in reality. You are just getting on a negative thought spiral. And my brain, I don't know about yours, it can be really good at this. And over the years, I'm about 5 years into my Empowered Wife journey since I first read the book. And it is getting a lot more natural for me to recognize and stop those. I think I get into them a lot less. I start them a lot less because I'm just generally thinking more positively. I'm taking better care of myself, so I'm not as depleted. But it happens. And physiologically, our brains are wired to look for problems. Our brains are wired to kind of go negative and look for threats in our environment. So it served us, but a lot more so in the past than it does currently. So it can serve us more if we can learn to recognize those needless emotional turmoil, especially because what Lord Doyle is usually not really grounded in reality. Sometimes the fears may be real, and Lord Doyle has a fear exercise to go through, but we're going to assume that our brain is kind of overreacting. We're in a negative, not quite grounded in reality, negative thought spiral. And I have found that when I'm in those negative thought spirals, I am, of course, on my husband's paper a lot of times. I could be having a pity party for myself and, getting up with the baby all night and those kinds of things. But generally, I am getting onto my husband's paper. I am thinking about why he's acting certain ways, why he's doing things, why he's not doing things. And what I really caught myself doing was when we are having some tension between us, which doesn't happen very often, but when it does, I would be like, how can he be so cold to me? I'm his wife. He, vowed to love me. He made all these, he said all these beautiful things to me. And he still does, sometimes. How can he be so cold to me? And I think I was praying one time because I was kind of struggling with that. And it kind of hit me. Oh, there's a lot of times when I act in ways and I treat him in ways that are not what I really want to do. I am acting out of hurt. I'm acting out of exhaustion. I'm acting out of stress. And generally, like, he might be upset at me at the time, but he extends grace towards me. He has learned to be more understanding, especially as this is our 5th baby. We've gone through this. He's not going to accept, mistreatment. He's going to be upset if I'm like really, being mean to him. But he's learned to extend a little grace to me when I'm a little bit hormonal, a little bit tired, maybe a little bit like snippy, not full on mean. And I realized, like, oh, anything that I want him, I was kind of having double standards. So I was expecting him to do like something and, basically be perfect in ways and not be affected by ways that I hurt him. And that's just also like how he reacts. And we all have our own personalities, temperaments, we all have our own wounds and triggers. Ideally, we're all working towards healing, and marriage ideally is a ground for healing instead of hurting each other more. We are all human, so we are going to occasionally, hurt each other, and that's why I have videos encouraging when you've had slip ups, how to like kind of get back. And I actually just posted on this my Facebook group. But it's really important when we are getting onto our husband's paper and kind of thinking about what he's doing wrong and all the things, we need to get back on our own paper and examine, okay, am I extending the same grace and understanding that I would like extended to me? Like if I flip the situation, how does that look? Am I acting in the same standards? Am I being perfect? Most likely not. So found out that like having just that change in mindset towards my husband is really helpful. And also when he's not his best self, just as I'm not my best self at times, and he's, getting a little stressed, getting a little frustrated with things, I can tell myself like, he doesn't want to show up this way. And that could be a spouse fulfilling prophecy that you say out loud potentially. I find it's usually just helpful for myself later when he comes and he apologizes and lets me know what was going on with him. I could say then like, yeah, that's not like you. Like I know, I appreciate your apology. Like, you're normally not like that. You've been great lately at managing your stress. Yeah, so those are things that you could potentially say, react to. But I find it's just helpful for myself and especially to maybe calm my anxiety because um, I typically do have an anxiety response, and it's usually not grounded in reality of this situation. I'm more connecting it to like past situations and having an over dramatic anxiety response in my body. So when I'm able to tell myself, like, oh, he doesn't want to show up this way, and I have evidence of that because so many times, like, there's situations where he normally in the past might have reacted poorly, and he's already gotten himself, he's a lot more calm, patient. He's able to show up the way that he wants to show up so much more, just as I'm working on showing up the way I want to show up a lot more often too. So, all that to say, I am a hypocrite and I recognize that, and it has been helpful. Doesn't mean I don't occasionally slip into those patterns. Nope, I still do. And especially I'm recognizing the postpartum hormones and just everything. Not that I'm giving an excuse to it. There's also a lot that I'm doing. I've been trying to hold on to too much control and being a little too critical. I've been going against the skills quite a bit. And guess what? It's not working out too well. So, getting back on when I am utilizing the skills and I am following what Laura Doyle recommends is the path forward. I find out things go a lot better. I'm happier. I feel better. There's less tension in my marriage. So yeah, the skills are very helpful. That's why I promote them, especially because I've had, I guess I would say, 2.5 kids without the skills. So I started reading the book in my third pregnancy, but I wasn't solid in them when I had the baby, my third. Yes. So all this to say, it's important that we are not hypocrites because oftentimes we'll be thinking, I'm pretty sure I was literally thinking of how he was being a hypocrite. And I'm like, shoot, I'm being a hypocrite. Dang it, that is not fun. I want, all the problems to be on him because then I'm not responsible for making any changes, but that's not reality. So, and again, sometimes there are legitimate things on his paper that he needs to work on, and there are ways to handle that with the skills. And I am not advocating for you to be taking and just sitting there when your husband's being mean or abusive. I should have said that earlier in the video, but I have an Empowered Wives Aren't Doormat video because I am very, very, very against that. So I hope this was helpful. Comment, subscribe, share if this video is helpful, if you think it might be helpful to someone else. But yeah, it can be hard to look at ourselves. I feel like sometimes I wanted to run away just because I didn't want to deal with my own insecurities and flaws. But it's important work. It brings us greater interior freedom and it creates more intimacy and peace in our marriage and home. So, all right, good luck. I hope this video was helpful.